This is Justin AMZN for Thursday, December 13th, 2018. Uh, After hours yesterday, we continued up and just we're grinding up this morning, looking like we're going to move up. And this really is the S curve we were talking about, looking like it's doing a good job staying above 1665. So we get into the day here, immediately have a little bit of a pullback, which is fine. You know, we've got a little bit of a flag here. It does kind of take out this pre-market low, and you're back into the price of the price range of yesterday in the afternoon, and then back in the after-hour prices. But from here, we move up. Looking for a move up like this, you could have had a trigger here and be triggered in and a stop down here at this level below the low or below 1665. Or you could have waited for a breakout of pre-market, or been waiting for a pullback, just kind of a more of like a double bottom into the 1665, then been buying. So some folks could have been in this right now. And then with this candle, pretty doubtful that people have been taking profits here, but there's a lot of selling that comes in. And we're not even up to yesterday's highs. So at this point, it's really a really strong reversal candle. It's not really at a good pivot, but there's a lot of selling. Obviously, the open and the close are 17 cents away. So, I mean, it actually ran up, sold off, and actually sold off just by a few cents further down. And then the next candle, a smaller candle, looks like it could bounce on the exponential moving averages. Lower volume the whole time, squeeze forming, a little more pullback, a little more, and it's like, okay, now do we have an evening star reversal? Are we really going to come all the way back down to 1665? The people who are buying with the stop down here are nervous, or if they're in options, maybe they've already been stopped out because the premium would have been, just getting sucked out of like 1,700 calls probably during this pullback. Squeeze still forming, increase in volume here on this candle too. What happens next? We kind of start to bounce. It's like, okay, maybe we just need another little chop in this area. This is another S curve. Here's a double bottom. It should just go higher from here. Lower volume on these candles. Bullish engulfing. This looks good. We've taken out another high. Moving on up. Maybe tighten your stop up to right here. Maybe right here. You're still down in the position, but you're just trying to lock in a little less gain. I'm sorry, a little less loss. Inside candle, and then a little bit of a gap and a breakdown. Takes out this low of that bullish candle. Really low volume here because it's just been going sideways this whole time. It's just like it went sideways here. And then it takes out the low, puts in a new low on the day with volume. And a number of people were probably stopped out here, or there is a lower wick. So obviously some people were buying off of this level and maybe looking for it to return back up to this high, I don't know. But this starts to look totally like a double top in here. And next thing you know, it's coming into 1665. Takes out yesterday's low at the close here. Not quite down to the low of the day, but getting there. And what's also interesting is, so I left this uptrend and the downtrend just from the triangle, and we're right back into, this is really our next potential support range here, to see if we can get a bounce here. Possible that we're going to get one, and then it breaks down. So quite a bit of selling here, pulls back, nice hammer candle here, bullish hammer, a lot of bearish momentum. This price right here, it's right at the apex of this triangle. Is really right there. Start to bounce a little bit. Nope, it's just gonna go chop and go sideways here. Lose a little more, goes down a little bit more. That squeeze is still, pushing that lower. And now really we're kind of really at or just below the kind of the apex here. I'm picturing the apex of the triangle about right here. So this candle we held it. This one we're breaking through it. It's just a question of, are we going to keep going down? No, good. Okay, we're bouncing. There we go. Right into 1665. But wait a minute. It was support here. it didn't even interact here except for a little bit of resistance short term. What if this is longer term resistance? And this is, these times that it bounced off of it, now we're retesting those levels, 1665. What's going to happen next? We reversed off of it right there. And we are actually moving down, putting a new low on the day. And then the rest of the day is a lot of just chop after that. So rather than going candle by candle, slightly lower lows most of the day, definitively lower lows here, and then gently, kind of going sideways, not as steep of an angle, and then actually putting a higher high than this pivot. So question is, what could you have traded from this? The key value I see is that obviously we ran up into 1665. This was the last chance to really hold this triangle. And we were still in that zone. It's still possible. And if we can get a gap up, then this would be one last accumulation. And, it should really just continue to run, just have kind of this secondary wave, like a B, C sort of wave. And then, we can start to rally with this being a little bit of a larger S curve. I can see that happening. If we can get going tomorrow, start moving back up, possible. Or we did leave this zone. So let me zoom back out. I really want to stay up in this zone for a little longer. I wanted to stay in the zone actually, and then break out that, over a couple days. So the fact that we're already down here is a little bit more troubling to me, that we're not actually as strongly bullish. But again, that's okay. As long as we're still between, really this price here, 1617 and 1714, as long as we're mostly between those, we didn't get a close below them at all. This is still just some sideways consolidation, and really makes me think it's so much more like what was going on in here. It's just not holding the upper range as much as I expected it to, like this one did. Once this one put in some lows here, it held it for days and then broke out, retested into it. That kind of idea is not working here. We're already back down to the lower range. Doesn't mean it's going to go bearish. It just means, be cautiously bullish, be cautiously bearish. It's got some consolidation going. We have bullish momentum on the daily, but we've got declining volume. So we're just consolidating. That's okay. Let's see. So we had this squeeze form and break down. We had another squeeze form, do nothing really, kind of, give a false breakout, and then just went sideways again. And this really long one here, it actually started to move, a little bit earlier, didn't trigger until that candle. Wouldn't that have been nice to been buying on that low because it triggered? Or maybe it hadn't triggered by the time I put in a low, but it had when it closed here. But, still a little bit of opportunity to make some money right at the end of the day. If we go look at the puts, let's see the puts at 1040, 1045. So this is the 1650 put, 1040, 1045. The price here was about 11. The price here is more than 11. So, we'll call this about $11. And conveniently, that is our resistance price here and here. So even though we didn't get down that far with puts here and here, we retested to this level right here on the option as this time of the day. So, this one was 8:55. This one was 10:40. So 2 hours later, we got the same price on puts here and right here. And that's just a great place to be buying, great place to be looking for a reversal here. Now, if you're waiting for it to have a smaller candle and close above that to get in, you're not going to see that unless you go further out of the money. This one at this time, so we're looking at 1650 down here. We had gotten in the money, and then we went out of the money, and then we got back into the money just 20 minutes later. So there's definitely opportunities. to be looking for those prices on the stock and on the option. So I hope that makes sense. We see this other times, and sometimes it's just hard to watch the option price. That's why I like using Thinkorswim to be able to do that. If you're only watching the share price, you miss out on how these things move. I just think it's crazy that even though we have a double top here, it doesn't quite retest that high on the stock, but it's clearly a double bottom, the opposite here, and then clearly retests to that neckline and then does its thing. I don't know if this still works. I guess we'll see. Can I do a negative in here? There we go. Okay. It's been a while since I've tried that. So good to know it still works. So, just kind of picturing it differently. This is a put. We're looking at it upside down. That's it. So it's a negative put, which is not a call. The call here had a double top, broke down, didn't get back up to that level. The put, the upside down put, double top, broke down, came right back up to that neckline, and then sold off. This, to me, this is easier to compare visually to this move. So let me zoom in on this and pause the video if you want and just tell me, does this move here look similar to this move here? Yeah, really similar. Sorry if I didn't give you enough time to pause the video, but go ahead and do that now and just study it. Just look at how the stock moved and look at how the option moved along with it. Some of the candles are larger, some are smaller. There's different volume spikes. We've got just a little bit higher volume than the previous candle with this candle breaking down through 1665. And you can see the cursor lining up. This candle, however, had a huge spike on this option. 200 contracts were transacted there, most of them being sold, probably because people were buying puts. Now I'm saying it backwards. Most of them were probably buying puts because we're looking at it upside down, not selling puts. So let me switch back and we'll see if that makes sense. Just visually, flip it around, do something different. So I got to reset the chart. Hang on. Reset this. Okay. So people are buying puts here. The low and the open are the same. The high and the close are 15 cents off. So, that's what the setup was doing. Or that's what the candle was doing, showing such a strong bearish, the bear is getting on right here as it broke down. And even, it got bought back up here and then, sold off from being bought back up. So you're trapping even these people who are buying, looking to get in below the low of the day so far. And so, it's just interesting to see how this stuff plays out. I'm seeing a little bit better of a triangle here and here in the option than I am seeing here. I'm just seeing a flat bottom and a downtrend line here that breaks out on the stock. But this one, it's not as well. I guess there's a bit of a retest here, and then it sells off here. So anyway, yeah, take a look at this kind of stuff. There's a lot of things you can do. You compare things. You can add and subtract things. You can do a lot in Thinkorswim and compare these moves. And even looking at them on, I think there's a way to do it on the same chart. I think there's a way to add something or do a quick study. I don't know where it is, to just be able to compare something. So, I hope this helps to get a picture of, how these move, because this is what we want to get good at. This is how we want to really work things out to play the chart a lot better. And so, realizing this level meant something on the daily, and it means something really strong here on the option, just get in, get in when it gets to that level. So have your trade set up like 11 by 10 and, just wait for it. Keep an eye on things. If it's really rallying, obviously you don't want to be filled for something, going against the trend, but we've already shown a breakdown. We're just waiting for a price that we'd like to buy. And, it shows up right here in the stock, right here in the option, and it's at a great level. Just get in. And then it moved back up to the high in the day. So you could have gotten in 11 by 10 near the lows. So, you're having it set up for it to get into it on this candle, or not necessarily that candle, but on this pullback in the option, because that's the price you wanted. And then you flip it out at 21, maybe, when it comes all the way back, after 20 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 minutes. I mean, you could have been getting out at the high was 20. When it came right back down to this low, and there's another line here. The rest of the day, you can see that it was just sideways there, but the rest of the day, you're losing premium from where you got to up here. A little bit more on this move, these candles breaking down, because it was just another rest after battle here that broke down. But we actually poked up a little bit higher on the option. But anyway, if you got it at 11 and sold it, let's say 19, right when it got down to the same low, you're going to get out. 19 minus 11 and $100 risk, that's 8R. 8 R's in 20 minutes. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that trade every day. That totally makes sense. There's so many reasons to get into that trade. And it's just waiting for it. Knowing what to look for and waiting for it. So I hope this helps and you're able to make sense of this and do something in your own trading. For me, it really helps just to be able to set the framework for how this is moving. If we come back into, maximize this one, come back in like this. Okay. We're really at this decision point here. If we go sideways, then I think it's just gonna sell back down to this level. If we gap, it's a bearish retest gap anywhere down here, which means that retest could actually make it rally. If we gap up, then we're going to be trapping people in the hourly. Similar to this, but I guess probably more similar to this, where we're selling off that last little bit, gapped up, ran, and then pulled back into it. If we do something like that with a lot of selling in here, I'd have to look at the hourly to see how these candles actually worked out for the, if it was a bullish candle, bearish candle in the hourly through this area. I just don't know where the breaks are to figure it out. But, tomorrow, a Friday expiration, if we can get near one of these strikes, if we can get near 1700, that'd be worth it. If we can get near 1665, or I guess stay near 1665, that'd be worth it. And possibly even 1675. Just the way that this has been moving, I wouldn't necessarily do any strikes outside of that. Possibly 1625, but it's got to get moving there and do kind of an S curve and show me it's going to roll over. Not get in after confirmation sort of thing, but it needs to show the patterns of reversing, needs to show some key levels, and that way. It's kind of mitigating that risk on a Friday expiration, but you got to be watching those so that something bad doesn't happen to your account. So that's each of our responsibility with doing this kind of trades. So hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.